is GT Racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got really outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Did you enjoy your Christmas? Well, the good news for you is it's Boxing Day, which means that all the Christmas pounds can be worked off in a very entertaining sim race. And what a place to have said sim race. We're here on the outskirts of one of the most fabled cycling races ever in the world, Liège-Bastogne-Liège. It is the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. It's the second round of your iRacing Grand Prix Series in the new era with these beautiful Mercedes W12 e-performances. I'm Jake Sperry, joined alongside here today with Jay Kennedy to bring you through all of the action on what will be a 21-lap showdown here around the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps here in Stavelot, Belgium. Jay, there's a reason why this is the greatest all-around circuit in the world. It hosts every kind of racing, and it hosts it to an incredible caliber, 7.004 kilometers, and a track which probably will never, ever need an introduction.
We're going to give it one anyway, but yeah, thank you, Sperry, and Merry Christmas to everyone. Hope everyone had a great little Christmas break and a day later for us broadcasting today. But a fantastic track, as you said. But one thing that a lot of drivers have been talking about for this race isn't tyres, which we've been talking about for forever. It's downforce. Downforce settings are playing a huge role in how the race will play out. Guys on high downforce versus medium downforce down the Camel Straight may be the difference between holding that position, being the lead car, or whether you can get the overtake done. So balancing the downforce settings for today's race is going to be huge. Of course, you want the medium downforce for the straights, but you want the high downforce for the fast turns through Pouhon, up through Campus, Stavelot, Blanchimont. You want the really, really good downforce settings through there. But everywhere else, you want the medium downforce. So finding that balancing act between the two downforce settings, very, very crucial.
Absolutely, and today as well, there are also going to be a lot of battles. We saw at Silverstone how close it was. We should expect something very similar here again as well. And Jay, we had a look after the opening race, and I think the biggest key that we saw with these drivers running 50% out there overall, what is a traditional Formula One distance, would you say that the key is how they manage the attack system when it comes to how they deploy this machine?
Definitely, it's played a huge factor in how it does impact the racing. Making sure you've got enough to be able to attack at the right points and actually run with the right attack settings. Very, very crucial. Saving your attack settings for the right point of the race as well. So I think with the amount of draft we're going to see at this track, means that we're going to see a lot of overtakes just due to the fact some guys are going to run out of attack and other guys are going to have plenty in the bank. So saving that for the crucial moments, very, very key to today's race.
Adam Gleeson goes second fastest, just ahead of Matteo Graziano, the number 23 machine, doing well. 7 splits. There's car number 1 out there on circuit. You probably need no introduction in terms of his sim ability. It's Casey Kerwin, and that lap will not count because it was an out lap. So he will start from, at best at the moment, 14th position on the grid, because a handful of drivers have yet to put in a representative lap time out there on circuit. And this is one of the toughest tracks to get it done, as Chabi Rose goes fastest overall, 1:41.1, and someone as delicate as a fork and as very tactical as a spoon, Colin Spork, that's a 1:40.9, and that is fastest.
What a lap. Great finish to the lap there for Spork. Most guys have completed their 2 laps as well, so at the moment that lap looks very, very good. One driver that may take that away though, Tamas Simon, whose lap at the moment full of purple sectors, so session best sectors all the way through for Tamas Simon. This could go P1.
It very much could do, and we'll see whether it will on that run then towards the line. How good is the time from Tamas? Oh my goodness, it is a monster lap. It's a 1:40.2. He is 0.7 of a second faster than anybody else out there. And this could be a very important qualifying. Jacob Reed running through the campus section of track through Stavolo and trying to keep the power down and really make that progress in the default livery of that Mercedes and running towards Blanchimont, a very, very tough corner. Flat out, almost slight lift, dropped 4 k's an hour through that section. That's not because of lift, that's because you have to turn the wheel so much. And then into that final chicane, really got to try and get the car as planted as early as possible. It's off camber both ways as you go through. 41.7, it's good enough for 11th place for Jacob Reed in the final charges over towards the line. Radecki Grzegorz over with a 43.4. That one did not count, but that will pretty much do everyone then, as we are only a handful of seconds. Andreas Henkel, I think, is going to lose out to the timer with 5 seconds here. And we can take ourselves then over to the starting grid. This will be how everyone will stack up. And it's the number 5 of Tamas Simon, who puts it on pole position by 0.7 of a second ahead of Colin Spork, Chabi Rose and Tom Volstra on the second row of the grid. Tom does so well around Spa-Francorchamps. Cedric Beale, great qualifying from him. He starts up in P5 with Adam Gleason, the number 6, in position number 6, with just behind him Matteo Graziano, the Italian, and Jorge Martinez in 8th place. Nice to see a return to the iRacing Grand Prix Series for Michael Dinkel. The German starts 9th with Marco Sanfilippo. Rounding out the top 10, Jacob Reed and Luke Dowding make it an all-club UK and Ireland 6th row of the grid. Following that is Magnus Wallström in 13th position. Christoph Montz will go from 14th ahead of Javier Soto and Gael Vallero there in 16th position. Fernando Guerrero starts 17th along with Matteo Calistani and Matthias Ossarola, who really made an impression, the Chilean. He will go from 19th along with Danilo Sanfilippo in at 20th. The last 2 to set a time were Thomas Bartosic and Mitchell Ian Green. The 4 drivers who did not set a time out there are Casey Kerwin, Radecki Grzegorz, Andreas Henkel and Thorsten Ulrich, the Germans, rounding out the 13th row of the grid. And interesting to see the tyres as they will go out today. I count just 7 drivers on the soft and everybody else is on the medium compound tyre. Track temperature is completely ideal, 28 degrees out there today, and it could be a huge difference maker as I believe Graziano has moved on to the medium. Ideally on a race so short as this, you want to make sure that you are not stopping any more than you need to, but it is now all about what you can do. It's a very short run to the Lassos hairpin, but so easily you can put yourself in trouble if you are not too careful. And we are just about ready to get the lights procedure starting. 21 laps then here today from the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Who's got what it takes as the green flag drops and we get ourselves underway? It's a horrible start from Colin Spork off the front. Immediately, Chabi Roche goes through. Volstra trying to dive through as well. Into one, he does well as they go through. Great start, and there's already drama. Round goes someone in the middle of the field, and they're all going to have to stream around. It looks like there was contact already and a tow already taken, potentially. A disaster start there in the middle, but we are underway here from Spa.
Yeah, it was Luke Dowding that spun at the start there, so unfortunate start for him, but great start from Tom Volstra. He's just launched himself towards the front of the field as Xavier Rose around the outside and gets the move done on Tamas Simon with no DRS on the first lap. That's incredible.
Chabi Rose fears nobody. He knew if he wanted to beat Tamas Simon today, he had to get in front quickly, and he's managed to do that. Why? Because he's on the soft compound tyre along with Tamas Simon out there in this race session, so he knows he's got to make this pace early, while most of the runners are going to be on the mediums, and their tyres will come in later on in the race. You can see a little bit further back there, on board with Jorge Martinez now, as he looks to chase down Michael Dinkel in the number 7 machine. No dice at the moment, trying to go through this. Fania, right, left, piff-paff, over in towards the campus section, and we're going to see a lot of these trains forming here today. If you can stay within a second of the car in front, you're doing well. Jacob Reed just behind, and a gap already forming to the Palermo pink of Marco Sanfilippo.
Yeah, Sanfilippo starting to drop off that pack a little bit. That said before, there were 7 soft tyre runners, so we've got Gross and Simon P1, P2. Adam Gleeson in 5th. Dinkle in 7th. Jacob Reed in 9th. And also Christoph Montz the other. But have a look at how much they've checked up through the bus stop. That got very, very messy as Martinez couldn't get through on Dinkle.
He definitely couldn't, but he's going to have a look, see if he can get that lunge. And they're all starting to trip again through the Lassalle's hairpin, slowest point on the circuit, and back on the power, and away they go, trying to make as much of a run as possible. So this lap then already sorted. In the early stages, one driver down in the pits is Casey Kerwin. So his start certainly hasn't gone the way he's wanted to. He lost his front wing.
Not a good start. I think he was involved in that lap 1 incident with, as we said, Luke Dowding was the car that we saw spinning around at the start. He started from, I think, 10th or 9th, and he's already back to 25th out of our 26 runners. As you said, too, Casey Kerwin already in, changed that front nose cone, and back out, and away he goes. So, continuing on. At the front of the field, it's still as it was, around about half a second. At the moment, when we get to DRS, every car but 3 will get DRS once it's activated, that being the leader. 2 others in the field that won't get it. Incredibly tight, this field at the moment.
Absolutely, and you are starting to see that here at this point in time. Again, another little look then as Martinez on the back of Michael Dinkle, trying to find a way through, isn't going to get it done in the middle sector. This is where you need the most amount of downforce, and it has been a fight today in terms of setup. High downforce versus medium downforce, and it's going to be really interesting to see who's gone for the high downforce package and who's gone for the medium. Around the outside, Tamas Simon at Blanchimont. That is beautifully done. He will regain the race lead. I believe he's someone who maybe has gone on to the medium.
Yeah, I think that's medium, just due to the fact that he had the pace to be able to do that. It's incredible to get it run around the outside. Yeah,
maybe. There's a big one. It was just in front of him, actually. There, it might have been Thomas Bartosic who could have been caught up in all sorts of trouble. I'm not sure who it actually was who got in. It might have been Mitchell Green, in fact, who found himself in all sorts of hurts. And
Elstrom, I think it was.
Oh, it was. It was as well. Wow. So, dramas already. Lap 3, you can see immediately the Serpentine bringing itself into play. Let's get a virtual racing school replay, though, as we take a look at how this all went about. There's a look down the... Oh, my goodness. That's a heavy accident there. Hard into the outside wall, and that is where the track is most loaded, the cars are most loaded, and that, you would say, is 2001 Luciano Berti.
That was a huge impact, and showed the positive about it was that we got to see how good the new damage model looks, but that's about the only positive to come out of that incident. So unfortunate end to Wallstrom's race. He would have been hoping for a good result, was sitting nicely in the mid-pack. Yeah, speaking of the mid-pack, that secondary group of cars behind Adam Gleeson, they're really starting to bunch up now. No overtakes that lap with the first run of DRS, but I think we're going to start to see it a little bit more now, where the guys are going to use this DRS, be able to make some overtakes. Cedric Beale under pressure here.
There's Michael Dinkle making hay while the sun shines. He goes through, moves on by, and jumps up into 6th place with that one. And here will come Martinez, trying to go around the outside at the chicane. Has he got it sorted? He'll have to go at the second part, and he gets it done. So 2 for the price of 1. And now watch off the exit. Nowhere to go for Beale. This will put Jacob Reed on the outside with a chance. We go on board with him right now, in towards the Lassalle's hairpin. Has to leave the route on that inside. He'll get better drive off the exit, and he'll get the place. Another soft runner, moving by a medium tyre runner in Cedric Beale. So they're really making it work quite nicely here off of the early stages. So another nice little bit of overtaking, and the race continues here. But now they have the Kemmel straight, and here will come Jacob Reed. Oh, 2 tyres in the grass.
Amazing. You see there too, already on the brakes, is Cedric Beale. You can see the DRS close up as he got past Martinez. Nice move there, and you see now too, Marco Sanfilippo's got himself into this too. So what have we got? 8 cars in this little train, all with DRS off each other.
Absolutely, and when you get 8 cars like this, trying to race this aggressively with each other, it's so easy for troubles to start occurring out there. It goes all the way back there. You can see just in the back of shot, Andreas Henkel on the back of Danilo Sanfilippo. So it really does show to everyone right now just how congested it is. Andreas Henkel, by the way, up 10 spots in the opening 3 laps.
Henkel had a little bit of a wiggle there in through the middle part of Pouon too, so he's definitely pushing it. At this point here too, the soft tyres definitely still playing the advantage over the mediums, but we'll see that come back to the medium runners as we approach the end. The soft tyre is the preferred tyre choice, but there's a big asterisk beside that. Depending on the conditions, the temperature, well, the temperature is pretty reasonable, so that's not the issue. Track usage does play a part, but also driving style. If you're no good at saving tyres, you can't go out there on the softs. And the one driver that we always know as a good marker is Martinez. We know how good he was in tyres in the old car, but he's gone out there on the mediums. To me, says that the guys on softs are playing a little bit of a risky game.
Certainly does seem that way, and we'll see maybe in the last 5-6 laps how that might play a huge factor in the way that this race is going to be run. But again, Martinez now will be looking back at Marco Sanfilippo. They all run into the line of Cedric Beale. Beale trying to cover off as much as he can here up into Les Combes. And a bit of contact as they go through and in the fence. Beale in trouble, car completely wrecked. Day done for the Frenchman.
That's heartbreaking for him because he was doing such a good job too. So see the race end like that is a bit disastrous and unfortunate, but the nature of this track, the nature of the beast, does happen from time to time at this track. Very, very sad to see, but it's common, unfortunately, at this track. We'll get another look and we'll see how much contact there was.
Absolutely, and this is how quickly you can go from hero to zero, leading the train up the hill on the Kemmel Straight over towards Les Combes. And I just have the feeling there was a little bit of unsettling through this section. They were really close. It's the sort of look that makes you go and say there may have been a little bit of netcode there, but really, Jay, you'd say on that sort of instant, you've got to leave that room as you make that progress forward. As there is Marco Sanfilippo, I believe, just about holding off what he needs to do. It's getting interesting as well, just in front of that as well. Reed and Dinkel on the back of Gleeson.
Yep, and Andreas Henkel also just getting through as well. Look at this little group here. Go back to that group with Dinkel, Gleeson and Reed in a second, but this is Ulrich and Henkel changing position a couple of times down the front straight, and they're still side by side.
I tell you what, Calistani was poking his nose in there, was the Italian, very nearly took completely Thorsten Ulrich out of it, who got the move done. And they'll get the DRS now on the straight, and this is where you're going to see most of the passes done. Nothing really doing there. It's Marco Sanfilippo ahead now of Martinez now in terms of that pass, and Henkel able to just about hold off against Ulrich there on that run, so able to get that sorted in terms of the scrap. But down the hill, through the big left-hander goes Michael Dinkel right now. That's Jacob Reed. Michael Dinkel just behind. Jacob Reed here, up 5 spots already, wants to make it 6. But this group, you can see, it's about 2.2 seconds off of Volstra and Spork, the 2 Dutchmen there in 3rd and 4th.
Interesting that this little group here of 3, we know that they've pulled away from that group behind because they were battling all together not that long ago, but to see that these 3 cars, all soft tyre runners, the next group of 3 all medium tyre runners. So we're going to see whether they can close that gap up, or whether that will continue as it is for now, or whether in the 5 laps, as you said, 5 laps to go, we're going to see these 2 groups close back up together. Gap around about 2 seconds between Dinkel and Sanfilippo. We'll see how much that evolves over the next little bit. At the front, Hammer Simon just starting to break away from Xavi Rose.
1.5 seconds, and it's only growing. That was 4/10 on that last lap from car number 5, the Hungarian, against the Spaniard there, Xavi Rose. But now you see a mistake through 1 at last source for Adam Gleeson has completely put Jacob Reed in the right position. He'll have DRS, he'll have the ability to move to the left-hand side, and he'll comfortably get that move sorted then. Jacob Reed inside the top 5, and he has got to rocket to get to the likes of Volstra and Spork, because time is of the essence on those red-walled medium compound tyres. Soft compound tyres. Get to the yellow-walled medium compound tyre runners out there on circuit. And there's a mistake as well further back. It looks like Thorsten Ulrich's gone off the road at Malmedy, and he's being absolutely swarmed right now.
a little bit of trouble, isn't he? He's just lost 2 spots to Guerrero and Palestini. Now he's got Soho and Green behind who are battling themselves. They just sort each other out because they could have easily both got a spot there, but decided to go side by side themselves. Interesting too, Jacob Reed's already pulled nearly 2 seconds on Gleeson and Dingle since he got past.
Yeah, he's absolutely flying right now, is one Mr. Jacob Reed. He has got the bit between his teeth as we watch then this mid-pack scrap going on. This is for about 15th position on the road right now and further back. So they continue to drop back 17th, 18th, 19th and 20th out there on circuit. They race for at this point in time. Andreas Henkel finds himself about 9/10 of a second clear of Guerrero, who he himself 9/10 of a second. Here's some side-by-side though into the bus stop. And you can see here for Soto, a little wiggle from Ulrich. And Ulrich, look at that, tyre to tyre as they go through. I don't know how much room they wanted to give, but I tell you what, they were sharing the same bit of track as again they fight in towards turn number 1. Soto runs it deep because he has to. He runs wide and suddenly Mitchell Ian Green, he has the best seat in the house to try and make a run, and they might go too wide here through through Eau Rouge. And look at that, Mitchell Ian Green round the outside at Eau Rouge Radion. That's a wonderful pass, and he'll get DRS as well.
What a fantastic little couple of corners there. And how do you get a move done up through Eau Rouge and continue the line through Radion and not put it in the fence or put the other guy in the fence? That was an incredible bit of driving there from Mitchell Ian Green to get himself up from 20th into 18th in the sequence of a couple of corners. It's in the background there too. We saw a car move across. I believe that was Ulrich, who was trying to defend these spots here from Bartosic. And who else have we got there? Grzegorz, yeah. Who both have had issues in this race as well. So there's guys well and truly out of sequence as well from where we would expect them to be. Been a bizarre race, but been a very, very entertaining one the whole way through.
Absolutely, and we've still got a number of laps left here in this race, so do not count your chickens just yet. There's still a long way to go as Matteo Graziano tries to hold off Jorge Martinez. Cars look exactly the same as they jam on the brakes into the chicane. Just behind that, Christoph Mont and Gael Valero are both there as well. Mont's, of course, on the softs. He's around mediums as Valero here wants to try and get back through, potentially. Not going to happen in towards turn 1, but the prime place is coming up.
Yeah, and Danilo Sanfilippo's come from nowhere as well to close up on the back of these guys too. So Danilo, great to see him back in the series after a little bit of a hiatus. He's doing quite nicely at the moment, but this is almost definitely going to be a change of position here. Valero will get through, and Martinez has also already got through just ahead. So a couple of changes of position there.
And what about Mont? Still continuing down the inside, trying to get past Graziano, having none of it there as they continue to fight. So that could have easily been a lot more trouble, but they managed to deal with it okay. And they continue as they go down here, Bruxelles, and in towards the next left-hander. So this is a really important battle. This mid-pack will continue on pretty much from now until the end of this race. They know they've just got to keep picking them off one at a time from now here until the end. And this has really been important for them just to keep themselves in the running. And that top 10 should definitely come along. Top 5 potentially with the likes of Dinkel and Gleeson. Dinkel now through on Adam Gleeson. And Gleeson is looking absolutely backwards because Marco Sanfilippo, well, he's just about creeping towards 1 second.
He's just got it under the 1 second, and the DRS activation point is just up ahead here. You can see on the bottom of the wheel if you get that first green light. If you are new to the series, you can see on the wheel with the lights on the top of the dash. Got some green ones on the left-hand side. You see 1 light up. That is DRS is available when you get to it. 2 means you can turn it on. 4 means you've got it. None means you're not close enough. Which is the point that Marco's at right now, but I think the next DRS activation point, which is coming up, should get it.
3 seconds now. Gap at the front for Tamas Shimon as we go through. There's the green light, which says he's got DRS here on this straight. Now, we are having a little bit of a conflab earlier on. We are thinking it's about 0.6 of a second on this straight that you can gain in the draft with the DRS. As you make that run, you can see just a little bit behind there. A little look side by side as Mons and Valero continue their run as they go in towards Lacombe. Valero getting it done. Car number 2 on iRacing for a reason. And he has to sit and be patient. And look at this. Matthias Otarola, the Chilean, all over the back of Danilo Sanfilippo, and he leaves the door open for Henkel.
Been a lot of gentlemanly driving, hasn't there? They've been, oh, look, if you're close enough, I'll just leave the door half open, and if you get it in there, you can take the spot. If you don't, it's okay, I'll take it back. I think some guys are being a little bit too courteous out there. It's not the high GPS we used to know. Everyone's being too nice. Get the elbows out a little bit more. In saying that, new damage model on these cars, some guys are probably a little more nervous to get the elbows out than in previous iterations of this series.
I would be. This thing's brittle, and you can see there Sanfilippo. Oh my goodness, Danilo absolutely trying to get as much as he can out of this machine as they run here towards Blanchemont side by side behind, as Henkel and Fernando Guerrero now starting to get into this fight. So it's pretty much happening everywhere in this mid-pack as Otarola gets it down the inside, gets the move done, and block passes as well for good measure. And we've seen that quite a bit here in this race so far. A lot of drivers making that pass down the chicane, blocking, but you can see in towards turn 1. Once again, Otarola runs a little bit wide. He wants as much drive as possible off the exit. Bit of wiggle as he deals with the torque of this machine.
DRS for Sanfilippo though, so that should mean that Sanfilippo will get the move. All the beautiful defending that Otarola's done is going to be for nothing. Lights come on, which means he's in harvest mode, so he's saving some battery. Easy move. No point fighting that when your opponent's got DRS and they're that close. Very, very nice move.
Agree there. So some very good moves being done. I am keeping an eye out though on Chabi Rose in second position out there on track. The gap's 1.4 seconds right now between himself and Colin Spork as the battle for 7th continues on. Adam Gleeson continues to fall back with Marco Sanfilippo, Jorge Martinez, and of course Matteo Graziano all there trying to get themselves in the mix. But I'd say now's the sort of moment where we're seeing things equalise out a little bit, as there is Marco Sanfilippo. He looks behind him. Martinez is all over him like a rash.
And you see there too, Adam Gleeson ran very, very wide there. Got to be careful not to run too wide. You can get a slowdown penalty. But yeah, I think Gleeson is probably happy with the fact he's run soft so that he got a nice little launch and was able to be up the front. But at this point of the race, as we're past halfway, we think, geez, these softs aren't a great idea. I'm really starting to struggle. He's going to have to do a lot of work to hold on. You see everyone behind Drew in this short front straight has got DRS. That will mean that Sanfilippo get a little bit of a gain. He's now at half a second. That's probably enough to be able to get the move done.
I'd probably say so as well. So if you can get yourself in line, give yourself the opportunity here. Going through, up the Radion, and now on to the Camel Straight proper. There's the DRS then for Marco Sanfilippo as he moves over to the right-hand side, left-hand side of your screen. He'll get through comfortably and get back in line and have a car lengthen a bit as well, going into Lacombe and into Malmedy, this right-hander, which is the very highest points on circuit. Just behind that, you can see Mons and Valero. God, this won't stop, will it here, Jay?
They just changed position twice in half a lap, so this has been a good little battle. And I think you saw how much time Sanfilippo used. I think he used his attack mode, he used his battery as well to get a little bit of an extra boost to make sure he was clear and potentially also clear of an attack back from Gleeson. And he's already pulled a second, so Sanfilippo is absolutely flying. Adam Gleeson is in struggle street. 10 more laps he's got to do on these tyres. Give it another 5 and he's going to be a moving chicane.
I think his tyres are cooked at the moment.
Yeah,
Martinez is all over him, and that battle there with Valero starts to just open out a little bit more. Martinez is right there again, and he can't afford to waste time, can the Spaniard. He knows that he'll be losing ground to Marco Sanfilippo the longer that he is stuck behind, so he jams the brakes on in, and now you look just behind that, Valero and Mons again continuing their scrap here for 11th position. All of this fighting Ottarola makes a mistake there. That opens up for Danilo Sanfilippo, but you got Guerrero, you got Henkel there. They have really got to be careful. And look at this as they power the attack mode for Danilo Sanfilippo out to the final chicane, trying to get it done in towards turn number 1. And you know what? He's got it sorted, but can he cover it off? He can, but you do know there's a Kemmel Straight coming up.
Oh, this is going to be huge here. And we'll see if Christophe Mont can get through back on Valero. You have to say yes, but how can Sanfilippo hold this? He just has to use his battery here if he wants to hold the spot. The other option is conserve battery, tuck back in the line and get the move done on the next lap. Guerrero tried to get past on Henkel, couldn't quite do it.
I think it was the other way around. That was Henkel going through on Fernando
Yep,
Guerrero
right.
there. So the number 9 still trying to fight back though here.
Oh.
Has himself an angle on the inside into Bruchelles and just about is able to hold it is Henkel with that very aggressive late braking into that section of road. It's so difficult down there because the track falls away from you. It's like driving a roller coaster as Volstra now has some troubles. Number 24, Jacob Reed, it's taken him a little while, but he has got there to the medium runner.
Yeah, he's been able to do a really good job with conserving these tyres. Third fastest driver on track at the moment is Jacob Reed, the only driver's faster. Tamas Simon, still the only driver doing 1 minute 44s. 45.50 for Jacob Reed and Colin Spork 45.4. So those are the 3 fastest cars out there at the moment. Xavi Rose around about a tenth slower than Spork the previous lap. This lap by 2 tenths slower. So that gap between second and third under a second. This is going to get interesting for the podium spot and 4th and 5th.
Absolutely, so 2 battles happening at the same time. Spork versus Rose, and you've got Volstra versus Reed on board with Colin Spork as he crests the rise. He has himself then finally the DRS, and now look at this. He's absolutely monstering his way up to him. I think Xavi Rose went high downforce today, and he's been absolutely swamped going in through the right and the left there of Lacoon. Colin Spork is up to second.
33 kilometres an hour difference in speed at the end of the straight. 295 for Xavi Rose, 327 Colin Spork. So huge difference in speed. That's incredible, the amount of speed. Xavi Rose obviously didn't use anything to defend that because he knew that the spot was going to go very, very easily one way or another. And he will now use what he had left to defend to come back on the attack.
Certainly will, and the middle sector is probably going to be where he's best, but it's not really a passing place, Jay, down in this middle sector. So you'd say for Xavi, if he's got nothing working on the straights and he can't stay with Colin Spork, it's going to be a Herculean effort just to get back by again.
It's going to be a big effort just to get with him again, let alone by him, because remember the other part of this too is soft versus medium. The mediums are coming into their own, the softs are starting to go off, so Xavi Rose could be in big, big trouble in regards to how much tyre he's got left. This is going to be a great fight. Now have a look at who's sneaking into the background of the shot there. Jacob Reed is not far off these guys. He just set the fastest lap on track. Jacob Reed at 44.4. Compare that to Tamas Simon, 45.0. Sport, 45.0. Xavi Rose, 46.3. So 2 seconds faster that lap. Jacob Reed, Xavi Rose.
Well, most of that would have been down to the fact that he got the DRS with Tom Volstra and he got launched through into 4th position. There's the DRS for Xavi Rose. He is coming back here. Spork's going to half defend this one, but not in line. Xavi Rose is not going to be able to get the angle here up the hill at Lacoon once again. The prime place to get it all done. And behind that, Michael Dinkel's actually just lost a position. That is Marco Sanfilippo now up into 6th place. Look at this for 2 wide as they go through. Martinez getting it done on Adam Gleeson. What a move.
Yeah, Gleeson is really struggling. We said before that he was going to start to struggle with these tyres. Well, the start hasn't happened. It's way past the start, I should say. He's in absolute struggle street. Dropped from, what was, I think, 4th or 5th earlier. He's now back to 9th. And he may lose another one as Martinez starting to pull a bit of a gap already. He's already pulled a 2nd since he got that move done.
Struggle Street, it's not far from Painful Avenue, which is another place which is frequently visited by Adam Gleeson. But there is Xavi Rose in what is 3rd position. The gap to the front, 5.7 seconds for Tamas Simon, who does not look like slowing down at this point in time. He has masterminded this race fantastically, but Colin Spork here is doing just about enough at this point, holding it off on the brakes. The right-left chicane comes into view then and onto this front stretch once again, looking to try and get that challenge. We'll keep an eye on those times. 45.2 that time from Colin Spork. Jacob Reed, by comparison, of 45.9. So Spork here is absolutely getting the bit between his teeth because he knows that he's in the final stages of this race. 6 laps to go. If he has any hopes of victory, he's going to have to hope that Tamas Shimon has no tyre life come the end of this race.
We heard from a couple of drivers that the difference between the soft and the medium tyre was around about 5 seconds, and you get that for about 16 laps. Gap at the moment, 6 seconds. About 5 laps to go. We're on lap 16. So that difference in tyre life is really going to come into its own in the next few laps. Spork is not out of this, even though he's 6 seconds back. He may have enough to be able to close on. The big advantage that Tamas Simon has is he's been in the lead. He has been able to conserve the tyres. But I'll tell you what, this little battle here is very, very interesting. Sport's got one eye looking forward, one eye looking back, and the other eye looking on his tyre life. He's going to try and work out, that is 3 eyes, yes. He's got to work out whether he attacks, defends, or does something in between. Got to hope that Tamas Simona has pushed the tyres a tiny little bit too hard and starts to hurt. But very, very interesting. Have a look at his side by side again, Martinez and Gleeson.
Yeah, Gleeson got back through on this lap, and Gleeson loses out then on that overtake. And this is going to bring Matteo Graziano into play, the number 23. Is going to try and find a way by. So, will this be for Graziano the overtake he needs? The drag then coming into play so crucially right now from from Marquez just in front. And here comes the move again. Gleeson thinking the outside, he's not going to get there, and they all jam back onto those brakes and make sure that they are doing just about enough. Gleeson, I think, is holding on, and let's take a look at the Virtual Racing School replay. Massive thank you to the Virtual Racing School. Bring on the replays here for this one. This is a look at Chabi Rose as he's going through this wonderful right-hander of Stavolo, and he gets the back volley out. Oh, what a save.
I just saw on the timing that he'd lost 1.5 seconds. I'm like, how did he do that? But incredible that he only lost 1.5 seconds. That's in the wall for 95% of the drivers on the iRacing service. So good driving from Chabi Rose, and he's still got a second back to Jacob Reed. So interesting. Adam Gleeson back through, and Marquez has gone from 8th to 10th.
Yeah, which means Matteo Graziano has made the move through as well as they continue on this fight in and around that top 10. They know it's going to be important come the end of the season, and you never know when it comes to this championship who you're fighting against, who's going to score the most points when, and who's going to get that all-important inaugural championship come the end of the season. Gleeson still holding off then on Graziano and doing a great job doing so at this point in time. I tell you what though, the battle is not over for the podium either, because Chabi Rose, Jacob Reed's kept that. He's actually closed down about 0.2 of a second over the course of this lap so far, and he knows that he can close a little bit more, and he'll be in prime range on this lap 18 coming up to of 21 with 4 to go.
Yep, not much left in this race. Gap at the front too, closing a little. It's now down, remember we said before it was 6 seconds, it is now 5 with 4 laps to go. So around about 1 second over 2 laps, not quite enough for Spork to close up, but the fact that he is closing a little bit, little by little, will start to apply a bit of pressure to Tamas Simon. But Jacob Reed has DRS available as soon as he hits the marker board right there. Opens it up, 0.8 of a second. Chabi Rose doing everything he can to hold that off. He's now doing about 20 k's an hour faster than he was. Now Colin Sport coming up behind him. So he's using everything he's got in that battery to try and conserve that position.
He used so much in that battery, he was faster on the straight. So that tells you all you need to know. Gleeson still fighting then as they go through again. And look at this, it's bringing the next group together. That's Valero who's going to be on the back of this. So suddenly it'll be a 4-car fight. Gleeson still holding off Graziano here, and Graziano and Martinez here, they're going to start tripping over each other if they're not careful. I'm pretty sure the two are teammates and they're going to be trying to work together to figure out, okay, what's the best way we're going to get ourselves around Adam Gleeson here. But Gleeson's fighting pretty much with everything he can possibly get. Graziano's trying everything to make a move happen. He can't get it done at Fania.
It's a fantastic battle, isn't it? They're just, working as hard as they can to get the spot, but they're not pushing themselves to the limit where they're going to make contact with the other driver. And as you said too, teammates, number one rule of racing is don't hit your teammate. Number two rule is see rule number one. Graziano and Martinez are probably giving themselves a little bit extra room than they normally would anyone else, because they don't want to see that end in tears, especially when you've got two drivers on for a top 10 in such a stacked field. 3 laps to go as Gleeson makes a mistake.
He certainly does. We have had an issue as two drivers are now out of the race. They are Soto and Mitchell Ian Green. So they are both out as Mons has his own troubles, and he's going to take a monster slow down penalty to get back into position there. So drama's there, and on for third as well at this point in time. There has just been a change as through goes Jacob Reed. What a drive he's had. He started 11th on the grid, and right now he's on the podium.
Incredible drive. He's just used those tyres absolutely perfectly. Pushed at the right points, conserved at the right points. He's done everything right in this race. Been an incredible drive the whole way through. That incident you were just talking about, a little bit messy between was
Green and Soto.
Soto, the other car involved, and going to replay that in just a sec.
We certainly will, with 2.5 laps to go at this point in time. Here is the Virtual Racing School replay. This is how it all went wrong out there on track, coming through the final section. Green trying to put the power down, loses the back end, and Soto is just a bystander as he gets caught up in it, clatters into the wall. You can see there that the right-hand side suspension is caved in, and his race all but over then in terms of this one. Rose hasn't given up this podium though, because he knows that Jacob Reed isn't fully away. He's not cleared by a second. They'll go on to lap 20. Victory out of reach. Tamas Shimon, 5.9 seconds clear at the front of the field. The third though, Chabi Rose, that's a mistake through turn one, and there is the inexperience showing.
Yep, just pushed too hard. I mean, he's got DRS available, but not going to be able to actually be too far back for DRS now, so it's all done there. Interesting too, the gap between first and second is actually extended. There's a little bit of a surprise. Thomas Simon's got it back out to 6 seconds, so that gap has grown. Gleeson has a new car behind him because he's let Graziano through. Martinez has dropped another spot. Valero is right there behind Adam Gleeson now to try and get the move done.
Here comes Gale, trying to look. It's going to be inside, it's going to be outside, it's going to be inside. He forces his way through. Gale force overtake, and that is good enough for 9th place.
How did he actually get that pulled up in time to make the corner? I have no idea how he actually pulled that up. Incredible bit of driving there, so great job from him. Gleeson now renews his fight with Jorge Martinez, but they're fighting for a couple of positions further back than what they were the last time they were nose to tail.
Oh, they absolutely are, and this is a fantastic race that we have seen so far, and it continues on in terms of this scrap. He's not giving up here. Is Jorge Martinez. He wants that top 10. Adam Gleeson is there just in front. He's been staring at the back of the blue and white machine for a very long time. The Mag Performance driver knows he's got not long left if he wants to get it done. A lap and a bit if he wants to put himself onto the top 10. And he knows better than anybody else there's troubles. There's been more troubles out there on track as Radecki Grzegorz, side by side, Henkel trying to go around Guerrero, I believe that is, trying to get another move done as they go through. So Ottarola and Grzegorz out of the race, but still Guerrero holding on as they go through the final chicane. They'll fight all the way onto this final lap start here as they go towards turn number 1.
The fact that they made contact coming into Blochemont and both made it through the corner is incredible in
Still
itself.
going.
Javi Rose back through on Jacob Reed.
Oh my!
Where did
Look
he
at
come
that.
from?
Where did he go? That was just set up absolutely fantastically there by Chabi Rose. He got a stonking run coming up the Camel, and Jacob Reed here in the fight for the podium knows that he's going to need the middle sector of his life if he wants to get himself third.
Gonna have to work really hard to hold on to this spot. Henkel and Guerrero still going side by side. That was close there. But a good bit of driving from those two guys. Gleason and Martinez, their little battles died off a little bit. And soft tyre runners that are struggling. Michael Denkel was 3 seconds ahead only 2 laps ago of this little group. He's now under all sorts of pressure from Graziano.
Dinkel has the experience, has been a World Championship driver before. It's not over for Chabiros and Jacob Reed, but for Tamas Simon, as he makes his way to the chicane, it has been a lights to flag performance from him. Dominance personified. He was 7 tenths quicker than anybody else in qualifying, and he's proven why he's world class. Tamas Simon wins at Spa-Francorchamps. Colin Spork will get second, and then over to third, the battle we see. Chabiros will hold on ahead of Jacob Reed to take the final spot on the podium. What a scrap between Graziano, Dinkel and Gail Valero. They've all gone wide here. Valero's trying to cut up and under here. He's going to steal one on Dinkel. Oh, Michael Dinkel losing 2 positions, driving to the line. What a finish that is. And a drag race between Guerrero and Henkel is Henkel's over the line. What racing we've seen here at Spa.
What an incredible day of racing this has been. And I wouldn't complain about going back to Spa again quickly. We finished last season at Spa. We've come back here only 3 weeks later. We've had another incredible race here. Absolutely love this track in these vehicles. Always provides a fantastic one. Bring on the next time we come back to Spa.
Bring it on indeed. What a race we have had, fighting all throughout the field, but it was dominance at the top. Tamas Simon, the Hungarian, picking it up, a victory margin of 6 seconds in the end over Colin Spork in second, and Chabiros finishing up on the podium, a last lap overtake to seal it against Jacob Reed, who gained 7 places during the race today. Tom Volstra will finish a very conservative 5th place with Marco Sanfilippo in 6th, ahead of Matteo Graziano and Gail Valero, who managed to, just in the dying embers of the race, get by Michael Dinkel, who faded back to 9th very late on, and Adam Gleason rounding out the top 10, another soft compound runner struggling late on. Jorge Martinez will get 11th, with Andres Henkel 12th and Fernando Guerrero in 13th position. 14th will belong to Danilo Sanfilippo, with another Italian behind him, Matteo Calistani, along with Christoph Montz in 16th position. Thomas Bartosic will take 17th, the American, along with Luke Dowding. And what could have been for Casey Kerwin? He outbroke himself into turn number 1, lost his front wing, and his race was a pretty pitiful one from that point onwards there for him. Thorsten Ulrich rounding out the top 20, the first of the lap down runners, and drivers out of the race include Matthias Ottarola, Radecki Grzegorz, Javier Soto, Mitchell Ian Green, Cedric Beale, and in a very dramatic fashion out of the race, the car of Magnus Wallström, then finding all sorts of troubles here at Spa. Well, that will pretty much put an end to racing here, but some amazing racing will come into play. Suzuka is the next round of the championship overall, and it will be absolutely fantastic, the 3rd round overall. If you want to get yourself in on this, which will be on Saturday, it will be a New Year's Day race, so keep yourself in eyes for that. Got to get yourself an A license on iRacing, and then sign up for the relative time split to get yourself into play. So that is what's coming up. Jay, Suzuka, it's a classic track. You've got to love it. It's probably one of the great finishing circuits you have for a season of all time. Round 3, I think it has a special uniqueness as one of the few figure 8 circuits in iRacing.
Yeah, it's a fantastic track, and we've seen in previous races in this series, it always provides some great action. Tyre choice is going to be interesting depending on how much heat there is in the track. If it's very, very hot, we're going to see mediums. If it's not too hot, probably we'll see softs. But then the other part of that is the soft tyres are going to wear very, very aggressively with how many aggressive corners there are. Tyre choice, downforce choice is going to be very, very interesting. I cannot wait. Bring on next week. Bring on next year.
Bring it on indeed, and the place you can bring it on is with us at SimSpeed TV. If you haven't had the chance to already, like, share, subscribe, do whatever you need to do to get yourself into play with us at SimSpeed for all of the action that's coming into play. But we cannot get it done here, of course, with the iRacing open wheel community here. We can't do it without them as they bring the broadcast to us. And on top of that, of course, the Virtual Racing School, who have been sponsors on the replays this year for 2021. 2022 is just around the corner. From Jay Kennedy and myself, Jake Sperry, it's been a pleasure. Tamas Simon was absolutely unstoppable. He was top of the class and then some as he managed to put it together. But Suzuka awaits in Mie Prefecture. The land of the rising sun will be where we find our next race. And more importantly, have yourself a very Merry Christmas, Boxing Day into the new year. And we will see you in 2022 for the third round of the iRacing Grand Prix Series.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's got rid of the outside of both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God. Oh, big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go.
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?